This first-time homeowner wants to sell. Will her improvements help make the sale?
$2,000 is quite a bit to spend on a room of this size.
Whose upgrades will get them the money they want? Find out next.
A really big thing we need to talk about is the yard.
When Molly graduated from the University of New Mexico in 2003, she knew that she wanted to buy a house nearby and close to the action. But now she's ready to let this house go so she can give rural life a try.
This is a 1950s Southwest Pueblo-style house, and the first thing that caught my attention when I walked into it was all the light. The pool in the backyard was another thing that totally surprised me and sold me on the house. I bought this house 4 years ago for $145,000. I put about $65,000 worth of work into it, and so now I have about $210,000 invested. Some work that I've done to the house, I redid the kitchen because that was one thing I could not deal with. A few things that I'm afraid of would be the paint choices. I love them, but to sell the house, they might be a little extreme. Another thing that definitely makes me worried is the fact that I did not do anything with the yard. I'm looking to find a new place because I would really like to live on a property, possibly with my horse, and experience kind of the farm life. I'm really, really hoping I can get close to $300,000 for it.
The University of New Mexico has an area right there in the heart of it called Nob Hill. Molly's house is kind of outside that area. It's not the same as being right there in the middle of the thick of things. I noticed in driving around before I came by that there's a lot of multifamily here, right in your immediate neighborhood. You're kind of surrounded with it.
Being so close to the university, it gives me that student influx, so I'm able to rent out my room a lot easier.
Which is great for you, but from the buyer's perspective, you know, they're going to look at this as, people in and out all the time. Most people that want to settle are going to want a more stable environment than that. And a really big thing we need to talk about is the yard. It's the first impression that a buyer's going to get from your home. For under $1,000, doing it yourself, you can bring that money back to you twofold and grab the buyer's attention right away. Wow, nice space, Molly. I love it in here. You'd never know it was this nice. Thanks. On the inside, it's a great space. You've got a beautiful fireplace over here.
I redid the hearth myself for about 20 bucks. I picked up some little Spanish tiles and reused some of the tiles from my remodel and did it myself.
Well, I think it's safe to say you're going to get plenty more than 20 bucks back from that improvement.
I had one question for you. One of the things I did was I chose to paint my wall red. I know when you try to sell a house, you try to do more neutral tones.
In general, that's true, but you know what? I like the red wall. It does follow along with the southwestern feeling. One thing you might want to pay attention to, though, this house has some beautiful original oak flooring. Very big selling feature here in Albuquerque. I would suggest that you refinish these floors. I think that if you did something like that, you'd certainly see that come back to you.
Okay.
Buyers are going to love this. Kitchens are huge with buyers. It looks to me like you've done a lot of work here.
I completely gutted the kitchen. I redid the floors, and then I put in the archways and the doors.
Oh, I love these archways. These are beautiful. Very southwestern. I love them. Overall, in this whole renovation, how much money did you spend in this kitchen?
About $25,000.
You probably overspent a little bit on the kitchen, but you know, the buyers, they're going to love this. It's gorgeous. So, this is obviously a garage that's been converted.
I added a new bath, and then I made this room into more of a living space. So I put down hardwood floors, added a closet, and put in air conditioning. It just makes everything much more livable.
Great. Well, you've done some very good improvements. Clearly, putting in a 3/4 bath and one as beautiful as you've put in is an absolute upside for your property. What did you spend on the flooring in here?
About $2,000.
$2,000 is quite a bit to spend on a room of this size.
Well, I kind of chose a higher end just because it really helps me rent out the space. So in the end, I actually end up recouping that money, I think.
Okay.
She may have recouped her expense on the floor, but other oversights might still be working against her.
You've really got to pay attention to that curb appeal. You really want to bring that up to par. Molly, you've got a great house. You've made some great choices. There's a lot of character here. It's evident in things like your fireplace hearth, your arched doorways, which are wonderful. Your kitchen remodel is super, really nice. All of those things they're very good choices. Excellent. On the other hand, you're living in an area of multifamily dwellings. There's lots of apartments all around you here. And from a buyer's perspective, that could be a negative. Also, you've really got to pay attention to that curb appeal because that's your first impression the buyer has and your last impression the buyer has. You really want to bring that up to par.
Molly's anxious to move closer to her horse and is looking to get $300,000 for her house. Will she be riding off into the sunset?
If you wanted to place your property on the market today, I'd recommend $225,000.
That's a lot less than Molly expected, but Ginger does have some advice to help her out.
If you can do the xeriscaping in the front and in the back, if you can have these hardwood floors refinished and keep all of that under about $5,000, which I certainly think you can do, then you can bring your property up to absolute top of the market in this area, which is about $240,000. Okay?
All right.